Tata Elxsi, the management joins us now. Before I go to the management, let me just bring on up to our viewers up to speed with what a terrific stock performance it's been for shareholders. Tata Elxsi in last 1 year clearly has been one of the best performing IT stock, and you'll be surprised when my producer will just fire the 1 year change in Tata Elxsi. It's right up there in terms of a outperformer in any category. There you go. Tata Elxsi in last 1 year is up about 164%. Why? While the company has turned around, things are looking up. The quarter gone by was very strong and there was all-round growth. But what is the way forward for Tata Elxsi? So let me now bring on board the Managing Director and CEO of Tata Elxsi, Mr. Manoj Raghavan. Mr. Raghavan, good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm looking at your presentation or your earnings presentation, and it starts with a simple comment from you. It was a pretty satisfying quarter with all-round growth across industries and geographies, and we continue to execute strongly on both top line and bottom line growth. Can I assume that the numbers what you've reported for the quarter gone by, where margins have expanded, where business has expanded, your verticals have seen 8 to 9% growth, is this the new normal now?
Good morning to you and good morning to your viewers. Yes, we've had a pretty satisfying quarter, and as I said in the presentation, right, it's not just one vertical or one geography that has really fired for us. Essentially, all the businesses that we are in actually grew significantly, and that was pretty satisfying. And I would want to assure you that this is not a flash in the pan, and this is something that we have been working, throughout the last, 4 quarters. Even when times were tough, we were pretty confident of the nature of our business and the customer connects that we've had. And in Q3, it all came together, right? So yeah, I'm pretty confident that we should continue on this growth path.
So I don't want to get this one wrong. Are you saying that the kind of sequential growth what you've reported for Q3, you could see the same kind of sequential growth for many quarters?
I wouldn't want to comment that or mislead your viewers, right? So definitely we're seeing a good traction. We're seeing good pipeline. We have made all the right investments in the sales team and the delivery capabilities. So we are confident that we are on the right path.
Your operating margins, Ms. Raghavan, are at 30%, and some would say they are the best in the industry. While business is looking strong, are you confident of also maintaining these margins?
See, these are extraordinary situations, right? I've spoken about it in the past also. Our expenses are down because there is no travel, there is no visa expenses. On top of it, in Q3, typically, if you look at it, Q3 is a weak quarter where you have furloughs and you have because of the Christmas vacation, New Year vacation, and so on. But however, in the last quarter, we did not have any of those furloughs, or it did not affect us to the extent that it used to affect us in the previous years. On top of it, our offshore leverage has improved. So all of these factors have really helped in pushing up the margins. Of course, the utilization have moved up, from about 70% to about 76%. So these are all the reasons why we've seen the margin improvement. Now, when things open up, when travel restarts and so on, so all those expenses will come back, but it may not go back to what was maybe 4 quarters ago and so on, right? So yes, we will see higher margins, but whether we will be able to retain this exceptional margins, I think we'll have to wait and watch. It depends on the industry situation. It depends on how things turn around after COVID. So yeah, so we'll have to wait and watch.
Okay, if we get into specific segment, embedded product design contributes about 88% of total revenues. And within this, I think transportation is around 41%. The transportation vertical isn't positive year on year. So just to get your thoughts on perhaps some of the challenges there and whether or not you feel it's going to be returning back to those last year levels soon.
Sure. So if you look at it, both last quarter and this quarter, we have shown growth in the transportation segment, right? So we've continued to execute our strategies in this segment. We have strengthened, the market reaching teams both in US and Europe geographies. So I'm pretty confident that we'll be back to last year's performance in this particular segment. On top of it, we've also looked at adjacencies, which is the rail and off-road and commercial vehicle space and so on, so as to reduce our dependence on the passenger car industry. So I think yes, we are growing quarter on quarter in this business, and it's a matter of time before we reach last year's performance.
And also, there's been a sharp pickup in broadcast and communications in that particular vertical, which contributes 44% of EPD. The segment's grown about 24% year on year, 7.3% Q on Q. What's driven that growth, and is it sustainable?
Yes, if you look at it, because of COVID, you have a lot of people working from home. You have demand for broadband services. You have demand for OTT, and these are all areas where we have pretty strong, and we have intellectual properties, products, and a good customer base. So and I'm sure you guys know about it that OTT in the last 6 months have picked up so dramatically, and a lot of our customers require design and engineering services to cater to this huge requirement that is coming in, right? So I think there was a good wave for us, and I think we went long, and I think we executed perfectly on our strategies. We have been preparing for this, while the investors in the market have been focused on our automotive business. We have been very, very diligently working on both our media communication and the healthcare business, because we knew that is where the growth is going to come in from, and we were prepared, and both these segments, we did not see any effect of COVID, and that, I mean, the strategies that we put out at the beginning of the year really helped us to ride this COVID wave, right? So I think I'm pretty confident, pretty happy that we saw the market, and we invested ahead of time, and the results that you see now are a result of those decisions that we took about 8 to 12 months ago.
Yeah, really bearing fruit of all of those strategies that you spoke about. But in specific, Manoj, if we were to talk about the margins, so commendable, all-time highs of 30%. Just walk us through what was the strategy that helped to drive your overall margins. And the question is this the ceiling, or is there more scope for margin improvement or even sustaining at the current levels?
I think I answered this question a couple of questions ago, right? Number one, utilization has improved from 70 to 76%. Number two, offshore leverage has improved. Number three, because of COVID, all the other expenses of travel, visas, all of that has come down. And if you look at it, I've always stated that when you look at the margin profile, the healthcare business or the medical business is one which gives us a pretty good margin. The next is the media communication, and the last is the automotive, right? So if you look at it, growth in media and communication and the healthcare business also has helped us grow our margins. So it's no rocket science. I think it's pretty clear, and people who have been following our company very well know how these margins are happening.
Right, and what is the outlook on your IDV segment? It's a much smaller share of your overall revenue, but sequentially as well, it's showing sharp growth. There's an improvement YOY as well. So where do you see this shaping up, the kind of growth that we'll see in IDV?
Yeah, so IDV, the industrial design business, has been underperforming for quite a few quarters for us. But this quarter, we did a number of strategic changes there. There were senior level changes. There were a lot of focus on the sales initiatives, and totally new approach to the way that we do business there. Some new segments with some new sub segments within that business that we really were exploring. I am pretty happy to let you know that we see pretty good growth in the industrial design business. And in fact, industrial design is a very, very key business for us, because that is what that differentiates us from all our competition. And ever since I've taken over, I've put a lot of emphasis on that particular business. We definitely want to turn it around, and definitely wanted to contribute both to our top line and bottom line. And I think this quarter is the Q3, the quarter went by, was the first time that really IDV was able to contribute both to the top line and bottom line significantly. And I think that is where I will definitely bet more. And we just hope that we continue to execute on our strategies, and as that business scales up, that will bring us good dividends, both from top line and bottom line.
When you say that last quarter you did get advantage because of less travel, visa restriction, visa cost was not there, things eventually would normalize. But on the other side, a lot of IT companies are indicating that work from home is normal. In fact, they expect substantial SG&A savings. How much of your COVID savings would be permanent?
If you look at work from home, yes, about 95% of the employees are still working from home, right? Having said that, we have not really shut down offices or let go of offices in a big way, right? So our overall expenses would continue unless we take a decision of letting go of office spaces, which at this point of time we are not really considering that, because we're not sure in 3 months or 6 months things would get back to normal. Having said that, yes, we are in a situation where we expect that maybe a permanent everybody working from office may never happen in future. There'll always be a balance between work from home and work from office. So from that perspective, I really don't think there's too much of savings due to COVID that we were able to show, other than, as I said, the travel and those expenses.
Let me take the clock back and talk about the auto business. There has been some volatility there because of JLR. Now things are moving on the fast track, at least in the EV front, in the design front, lighter cars, EVs. Are challenges in the auto business sorted out?
Not yet. Customers are still very tentative with respect to spend. Of course, there are large deals that are opening up, and in the quarter went by, also we've closed a couple of large deals. Our JLR business is steady. It's pretty flat quarter on quarter, but all the other customers we have really been able to grow. EVs is the way forward. There is no doubt about it. We are also investing heavily in that business. And eventually, when the industry picks up and outsourcing restarts, right? I think we would definitely benefit, and we are preparing for it. We are doing all the investments right now to be able to leverage the wave that will come up on the EV side.
One more question, Trevor, throw later. Bring a point for our viewers. Tata Elxsi cannot be compared with traditional IT services. Now we've been tracking traditional IT companies, and we track operating matrix, like what's happening to the BFI business, what's happening to the US business, how exactly are the client IT budgets moving. So for somebody who wants to understand Tata Elxsi and the business, what are the matrix one should understand?
That's a very difficult question, right? I think you should ask a number of our investors that question, right? So the standard matrices always apply, which is the revenue per engineer, of course the top line, bottom line, contribution, operating margins. All of that are things that applicable to any industry, right? Specifically for Tata Elxsi, I would say Of course, the on-site offshore, leverage, the headcount, the attrition. These are all things that differentiate ourselves, right? If you look at our attrition, it's slightly about 6%. Again, it's one of the lowest in the industry. So I think segment growth specifically, right? Whoever is interested in Tata Elxsi, all the three segments and design business, how it is growing, and that is going to give you a lot of indicators of the performance of the company.